limitations. So once you get into a situation, one of the models, like, do you have enough resources? And you know that's always going to be an issue. The same thing about, you know, do you have the supervision, the type of support? Because once again, you're coming out of law school, how do you know how to do the practice? Do you have that level of support? Do you have that mentorship? And where does it actually come from in order for you to provide those services? And it's, when you take a look at it, it's already, like I said, you just graduated, you don't have that, but where is the model that you can also take, whatever the Georgetown, the way that they're doing, and they're kind of helping just their own, but what about the rest of us? So how can we expand, and what suggestions do you have?
I was just wondering, I've had conversations with some people at Seattle University of Law, where I know some of the people locally. Have you given any thought to structuring a kind of exit orientation curriculum for law students as they're graduating? We have one for coming in, but something in the final few weeks, you know, somewhere between exams and graduation, where you just have this suite of, you know, small courses. It's no different than orientation for coming into law school about. Here are some of the basics of running a business. Here is a basic lesson in accounting. Things like that, so that at the very least, you know, made mandatory that they want that diploma to show up. But that way, at least, you give them that sort of 101 level, so that they're exiting with, you know, a bare minimum level of competency and knowledge, stuff like that. I mean, having some conversation about trying to get something like that going in Seattle, because I clerked at the trial court level in Seattle, and the biggest complaint was you get a new lawsuit. They don't even know that local rules exist half the time because no one told them.
Mm-hmm.
And no one in law school tells you there is such a thing as local rules, and so that started
Some of us do. Sorry.
This was the and so the judge I worked with, who taught at Seattle Law, started talking, brainstorming around something like that. Just because I heartily endorse your idea. There's all this 101 being a professional lawyer stuff that no one learns, and so that was our idea that we're starting to sort of shop around. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
There is a book out saying the E-Myth attorneys, and it actually focuses on, you learn this practice, but you don't know that practice is actually a business. You're running a business that provides legal services. So that whole concept has, at least in my experience at law school, been missed.
Real talk.
Right, in terms of like marketing and branding and all that other business savvy stuff is really absent from this in this context, right? The big firms know that they're branding their pro bono. They're not just branding their law, like it's so micro in terms of like how deep it goes, and I mean, there's so many courses, like even in like nonprofit, it's like there's no teaching how to manage. Like you learn how to be a provider. At least at CUNY, you learn, like there's tons of clinics. We start lawyering seminars so you can hit the ground running first year, where you're learning all that stuff as you go so that you can practice when you walk out the door is the intention. But like I've met so many amazing immigration lawyers that did pro bono but have small practices, especially in immigration. I feel like there's few really amazing immigration lawyers in some sense, and everyone goes to them for their knowledge to do pro bono, but they also sometimes have to like earn a living, and they're not all working at nonprofits because there isn't enough funding. It's like this whole catch-22, but they don't know how to market. Like they're charging the rates of a nonprofit. Like I know that their fee is the same as a model that has this like iceberg of support behind it, and and they're like wondering how they're supposed to pay the bills, and they don't stay in practice. So I think that's a really interesting issue that we're not talking about. And I know we had a speaker that came to the law school and said, "I know you all want to be martyrs and millionaires, right?" And it was kind of fascinating how like we're not talking about like what it means, and also the people drawn to the work are sometimes making the same amount of money as the clients they're serving. And what is that doing in terms of economic development for this population? So these are just things that I've been thinking about, and I know some of them, there's another project, I think at Pace, who's trying to do a model like this with the mentoring, and I don't know what's happening. Are the different models talking to each other?
I'm not sure if the communication is really as fluent as it needs to be, because everyone's kind of territorial. Like, hey, this is my model, I want it to be mine, and so forth. But I think one of the better things that we need to really be able to do, because we're kind of siloed, right? Instead of reaching out to the School of Business and bringing them in, because that's what they're expert on.
Right.
We're expert in this area, but let's work together, because even if you have professors trying to tell you something about business, the nerd in me says, like, and you did what? So you want to bring in those resources and then actually get good data to say, these are some things that can help, and understand the market that you're in, because regionally it will be different. Like, some of these aspects would be wonderful, but if you take it to the Deep South, you may not have the resources and the support that you need to do some of the functions. So if you start partnering, sharing information, using technology, because that really will cut down costs. But once again, you may have some generational things that go on too, because I'm right with you. I'm like, what is that again? Okay, I'm getting that. And it's really helpful when your classmates say, it's in the group me. And you're like, I get that too. But it's a conversation. Group me. It's another one like Slack. But it's some of those things, but technology does help. But we also need to have those things incorporated in some of the courses and classworks that we have. At my law school, we're really focused on clinics. So we have 14 credits that we need just in clinics to graduate. So that's a lot. And so when you think about it, yes, we may know how to practice, we may know how, we definitely know about local rules, but we know some of those things, but yet still when you go to the other end, if you want to put out your signals, there wasn't your own shingles, there wasn't that course that told you this is what you're going to need to start. You know, start from you're an attorney, but yet still, oh, I got to get a business license, and I got to do this, and how do you walk through that process? So you have to go to the Small Business Administration just like everybody else, but you really shouldn't. And so those are some things that I think that are important, but like I said, with the model that the primary 3 models that we have, then you want to add in a layer for particularly people of color. What are we doing? Because the need is already out there. We know that the need is out there, but once again, we need to have the mentoring, we need to have the linkage, and we need to start here and be able to help ourselves by getting funding that will take this message to other places so we can hear, because I think it's an awesome opportunity. And then when you add on that if you're a person of color or minority, you need a little bit more, you may need a little bit more help and support for that. Do we have any additional questions, comments, or concerns?
I'm just thinking back to the presentation from the DC Bar. I'm just wondering if there are any resources there that you could leverage. Because the presenter talked about the starting your own practice trainings that they do through the bar. And that seems like it might be a natural place to do something like what Zakai was mentioning at DC or other schools.
So as we know, the resources are always slim, you know, for that. And then if you're a member of the bar, they have a lot of resources that are there, but you also have to have that communication saying this is what we're going to have available, this is what we can have to offer for that. And sometimes those programs don't reach certain schools, so that information may not be as readily available on certain side of the city as it is on the other side. So as far as having that information available, I don't really recall that. And our former dean was the previous president of the DC Bar, so that should tell you something.
Could you have like an alumni who has a successful small practice be an adjunct, so they're paid to teach small firm practice and like make you go through the semester with like creating a business model for your small firm, like doing all of that stuff as a course?
I mean,
think that like are people going to take that? Is that
I think it's all a possibility for that. But like I said, if you already have, most universities not most, but some law schools are connected to you. full universities. You have the resources available that they can pull in someone who specializes in that. It's really just about forming the communication. You can always have alumni come in, but yet and still they may have learned by trial, by fire, and that may not be the best way. But that's the way that they know, and then you don't want to have that bad information going on top of like, yeah, I got burned with this tax form because I didn't submit it on accordingly on time. So submit it on time instead of